everybody was
Okay, we
invited.
are live streaming.
Melissa's
Put
here.
at the door, please.
Absolutely.
Is it open though to get in?
Yes, it's unlocked.
Okay. Good.
Hi, Melissa. Hi. Apologies.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good. Should I move closer? Like, does it matter?
Wherever you want to sit. All right, I got 4 o'clock. We're still waiting on a couple of people though, aren't we? Okay, who's going to run this to show us the new zoning maps? Is it?
I have it up right now. So
Okay.
I'll move it and move it however you want to take it.
Yeah. Can you walk us through? Do we have the other one with the change, you know, what it was before versus this one, just so everybody can see?
Do you want to wait till everyone?
Yeah, wait till they. We'll give them 2 more minutes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if she was planning Wendy, if she responded to your email to attend.
Who?
Wendy?
She didn't respond to the last one. I didn't see it. We'll ask Katie because Katie actually sent the email out.
Okay. I can do the
Katie, do you have a list of who responded to the email?
Not on me, I can go grab it if you'd like.
Okay. Did Wendy respond?
Wendy said she's not
None? Okay.
doing it anymore, moving forward. That's what she told me. That's to disregard, to remove her from the emails.
Okay.
So I can show you that. I just do that.
Okay, it's on mute. You ready to go, Matt?
Yes.
Okay. All right. If you don't mind, Cindy, if you could go through the new zoning map and show us the difference between the two, or, you know, bring the old one up and then bring the new one up.
So, what I have is the new, so
Okay.
what I can explain is basically, what we took a heavy look at was the residential and wanting the residential to truly be single family. If it was single family, that is all that was being allowed in that area, and that any of our 2-family or multiple dwellings was going to be then in a multifamily.
Okay.
So we looked at our multifamily, multi-use, and we divided that. And we made it very distinct to have a multi-use and a multifamily. So that when we looked at past developments that we thought were not in tune with what our community was really looking for, those zonings were adjusted to no longer accommodate that type of development.
Perfect.
So there are 70, well, I'm trying to think, probably about 75, 20, about 750 parcels that were affected by the changes, just in the MFMU, where we divided them either to be one or the other.
Okay.
The important thing to realize, though, is that in a multi-use, you still have the ability to have some residential. So, I mean, I know you won't hear me as well, but you're going to see this new beige color. That's the multi-family.
Okay.
And those are going to be your areas that you're now going to actually see where multifamily was instituted and where there's potential for. One of those
Additional, okay.
new building areas that we had talked about was here, to enter from transit, to enter from Como Park, being able to have maybe an affordable housing unit, something along those lines, but it was nicely located on a main road so that you would have services available. You would be able to have mass transit available to you. And it kind of plays off with what our other communities, our neighboring communities are doing also.
So the one, is that Transit Road where that big section is there?
This is right here. So we would have the entrance here from
Okay.
Transit Road, but they would also then have exit and entrance on Como Park.
Como Park,
So that
okay.
way you no longer have a development that then is only being accessible from one passway.
Okay.
And I think our fire safety, our emergency services have asked for that time and time again.
Sure.
Not to have the cul-de-sac kind of scenario that there's a blockage, and I think we heard that too with one of our recent projects. People didn't want a road to be blocked so that you couldn't have emergency services or use of that roadway. So essentially, like out in these areas, these new beige multifamily are existing projects. And now they're properly zoned to the use that they have had.
Okay.
We'll still
So
have,
those went from MFMU just to.
right, so they followed what they truly were.
Right.
If it was all zoned before multifamily, multi-use, now it's noted and shown as what the true use is.
Okay. Perfect.
And then if there was an expansion, they would follow that classification. That would be how they're now zoned. So I think we really took into consideration the conversations that everyone was having about development and where the development was seen going in a positive way, and then the negatives to some other developments. And the map is now a result of that input.
Great. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good to me. Okay.
And then we do have then, Jennifer's been working on the actual zoning classifications, all of the changes. I believe those were emailed out this week. Were they? No.
No, because they're still being finished.
So there's a little bit more tweaking, but
Okay.
essentially the same scenario is that a residential area is going to be truly a residential area. And AR then also, as we had discussed, is going to be single family and then farming, AR.
Yep.
Something with a multi-family then would be anything from a 2 units and larger. But then you could have a mixed use that will also accommodate dwellings.
Okay.
And it would be incorporated within that development. And that was probably the only question or the only discussion that Jennifer and I had, feeling comfortable with that 50% for the residential use in the MU, multi-use zoning, and not going with that 70% that had originally been
Yeah.
proposed.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that sounds
No
good.
worries. Okay.
Yep.
So what I did is I took the laws that.
Do you want to come up and get on the microphone as well? Thank you.
So I took the draft local laws that Wendy had marked up, went through those, worked with Matt to find all the references through the entire town code that then needed to be amended to reflect those changes.
And it was only one, right?
No, there were 8 or 9. So Jen was typing it today. We're putting it together into one local law to change all of the wording that needs to be changed.
Okay.
And then there's a second local law for the rezone.
So our game plan going forward is, that's got to go before the planning board, right?
Correct. We have to
Change.
get it over to the planning board to review.
Okay.
I hope to have it out of typing tomorrow.
Okay.
Cindy compiled a list that is 75 pages long of all the parcels that are being rezoned.
Okay. Good.
So it's going to be a very big local law.
Okay.
I would like to have it ready for the town board on Tuesday to formally accept the draft and refer it over to the planning board. We're hopeful then that the planning board can review it starting at its 1/22 meeting and then maybe make a recommendation on February 5th. Cindy and I are working on the seeker. Hopefully that will go out this week. And then maybe the town board can call the public hearing at its first meeting in February. Do we know yet when the second February board meeting will be? That's the week of the Association of Towns.
I'm not sure who's going. I only know of Melissa at this point. Do you know who else is going? I am not going to be able to make it to that.
Okay,
I'm not going to the Association of Towns.
okay.
the other council people here.
I haven't heard from anybody else yet that they're going.
I'm just, to hold the public hearing, we need to know when that second meeting
Yeah.
in February will be.
Okay.
So that's a little up in the air.
We'll have that by tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay, beautiful,
Doesn't that
beautiful.
seem a little hurried? It seems a little hurried.
Well, if everybody needs more time,
Is there a reason why we're going so fast on that?
Basically, we asked for 3 more months for the moratorium, so it's the end of March, so we could spread it out to the end of March. If we needed to during that time period, we could also call for an additional town board meeting if we needed to go over anything that the town board had to take care of. So I'm not, if you want to spread
Well,
out
the end of
further.
March, okay, so now you're saying that the final vote would be the second meeting in February?
right.
Okay, well, I mean, we've got 2 more weeks to play with
Can't
till
we
the end
can't
of
we go
March.
backwards from?
But that wouldn't be the final vote, that would be the public hearing.
The public hearing.
I would have it ready for the board to vote on that night of the public hearing.
On the night of the public
Right.
hearing.
Or maybe you would table it in case there were public comment that you
Yeah.
needed to consider.
I'd like to have a week that if that happens, a table happens. So
Can't
maybe
we
we
go
can take
backward-
1
work
week.
backwards, right? Start from the end of December and work backwards and say, okay, well, actually.
Well, actually, it's the end of March. because
End of
we
March.
I'm sorry, the end-
extended-
I'm sorry, the
Yeah,
end of
so we have 2 meetings in March, and so the second meeting in March would be, the last meeting in March for the town board would be the 17th, okay? So I would like to shoot for the final on this, the public hearing and the final vote for March 3rd, because if something does happen, then we have another meeting in March that we can attend to any issues that do arise, and then have finality on the 17th of March.
And our meetings in March are the 5th and the 19th, so we can get as early as 5th, and we can even go to February 19th, right?
I guess I'm looking at some ample time for the planning board to review.
Right.
Me, I'm
75
looking for
pages.
ample time for all of it to
I mean,
happen.
right, you're looking at over 100 pages. that-
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So will that help an extra week?
I think it will.
Okay.
Yeah, again, it seemed like, listening to what Jennifer had, it just seemed really compressed, and I was a little concerned about being able to hit all those dates.
It's very important that everyone review it carefully.
Absolutely.
I also believe you should mail notices to the 750 parcels that are being rezoned.
Okay,
Ouch.
so, okay, what's the earliest you can get us that list of the 750 parcels?
I was wondering, Cindy had the idea, could we put a notice in their tax bills?
They've already gone out.
Okay, okay.
Katie, so we're going to coordinate sending all those out to the 750
Today.
residences?
We just thought of
Can
it
that
as
list be made into labels easily?
Absolutely.
You have the magic.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I will revise the timeline then
Okay.
to reflect that, to give everyone adequate time.
All right. And if anything comes up, we still can have an additional meeting somewhere in there.
Correct, and if you needed another meeting, you could adopt a resolution to extend the moratorium for another 2 weeks or a month or something.
We could.
I mean, I know nobody wants to do that, but you do have that option.
Okay.
If something came up at the public hearing that just changed your line of thinking.
These letters that'll be going to the parcels, will they be advertised in the public hearing?
I would err on the side of maybe just tell them that there will be a public hearing in the next couple
Yeah.
of months, like keep an eye on the town website, something along those lines. Because if we stick to a date in there and then we have to change it.
Exactly,
that
you're
could
going
cause
to
some
send a second
issues.
mailing.
Yeah.
Right,
If something were to come up and we needed to extend it, I think,
right.
Yeah, we're going to have to bounce that around, what we're going to send to
Yeah.
them, but we'll take care of actually mailing it out once it's
Wonderful,
determined.
Wonderful. And then I think the only other unresolved issue was Ed had raised the possibility of the tree fee, of adding a tree fee for commercial properties.
What?
Non-residential properties.
What?
Tree fee,
Tree fee?
yes. I printed it and I left it on my desk.
Well, does the town, first of all, plant trees? And so when, let's say AdWorks decides to build someplace and I'm putting in foliage, that's on my bill, right? The foliage is on my bill. However, the trimming of same foliage on a town road,
Like a green space fee.
I see, okay.
Well,
Isn't there already a commercial tree fee associated with the building permit of new buildings?
Not that I found in my brief research this
Pretty
afternoon.
sure there is.
Okay. That's something that the board could we can still work on.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure, and do we want to charge them to put up a tree? Is that what we're saying here? Because I'd rather them not be
It's a
charged than put up a tree.
reforestation thing.
It's a reforestation fee, as it is right now in the commercial and industrial buildings, $300 per acre, like part of an acre.
Okay,
Basically for new construction, very similar to what you'll see with single-family residentials, where it's a per lot fee.
oh, okay, so it's for the lot, okay.
It already addresses commercial and industrial buildings as well as hotels and motels. So it's more of a reforestation fee.
Okay.
Tree fee.
Yeah,
It's already
What
It's
is
already in
the,
there.
what is the rate? Do you know?
$300 per acre.
so we don't want to change that, do we? Leave it at $300? Does that sound reasonable, Cindy?
Does $300 per acre sound reasonable?
I think actually what originally was talked about was a different set of plans fee. Okay. So I'm going to check my notes with what I had spoken to Ed about, and I think there was maybe Ed today miscommunicated about it being a tree fee.
Okay,
So I think, yeah, I'll circle back to that.
okay, all right. Okay. Anybody else have anything else at this point in time? We're going to spread this out a little bit more so there's more time, so we all have time to review it properly. Anything else up here?
No?
Okay, again, I think great work on everybody's part. If the supervisor's office can be any other assistance for mailing things out or getting things typed up, let me know. Be happy to participate. Matt, anything?
Nothing additional.
Okay, all right.
And the mailing, we use a service at the tax office, which gives you a lower rate than even our rate here.
Oh, okay.
So, contact Sherry. Sherry has all the information.
Okay. All right, I think that's it for today's meeting then. Okay, thank you very much.
Jennifer, can I borrow you a minute? Maybe he misspoke. Maybe it was some sort of green thing or something. It was just. Maybe it was thinking.